All right. You ready to go?
Ready, Freddy.
Patrick. Okay.
7 days later.
Welcome to After Playlist, the podcast that's all about digging up great music, both new and old, and cooking up curated playlists made by real people. I am one of those real people and your host today, Brandon Lee.
And I am one of those fake AI people named Terrio. Nah, I'm
he's
real.
lying, y'all. He's real.
I'm super real. Matter of fact,
Can
sometimes
verify.
I'm too real. Actually, sometimes I might need to unreal myself, to be honest.
Facts. Okay, we love music and talking about it. And today's episode is about some of the chillest songs that we know. It is summertime, which often means beach vacations, hotter days, and even longer nights. So to stay cool, both inside and out, we decided to make this chill playlist to help us achieve max relaxation.
Yeah.
So today we're going to leisurely hang out, catch a vibe, and talk about what we like so much about these chilling out songs.
Heck yeah.
And of course, we're going to be referring to songs from the playlist throughout the episode. So to ensure that everyone is familiar, I'm going to run through those real quick.
Well, let's set the mood. So whatever you got going on, just turn everything off, chill. Matter of fact, pull your car over on the side of the road and just, relax for a moment. Take a deep breath. Relax. And now let's get into this playlist.
Find your center, your zen.
Yes. Go to your happy place. That's
do
legal.
do some namaste things if that's what you got to do.
Exactly. Woosah.
Okay, on to the playlist. Starting at the top, we have Stay the Same by Bonobo featuring Andreya Triana. Love Me Right by Amber Mark. Paradise by Stephen Marley featuring Twista and Jasmin Karma. Pure Devotion by Timbaland featuring Favelababy. Shadow Work by Kromestar featuring Katja, I'm assuming. It's Katja there. What We Are by Jonas and Luisa Sonza. Morning Glory by Jamiroquai. Anemone by Slenderbodies. Sorbet by Galdive. Sober by Childish Gambino. Wings by Mac Miller. Honey, specifically the Medasin remix by Kučka. Aphasia by Mr. FijiWiji. And finally, I'm God by Clams Casino. So if you haven't already listened to the songs that we're about to discuss, we do have direct links to the music playlist in the description, aka the show notes, for your listening pleasures. Again, center yourself, put it on, and just relax.
Yes. And speaking of relaxing, before we dive into this episode, we do have our customary after playlist disclaimers. Number one, we respect everyone's opinion and vibe, regardless of how wrong it may be. Number two, at the time of this release, we know it's summer, it's a great time for high energy, dancing, party, get your full oomps on. These songs are not that. No. These songs are for after or before, like the high energy music situation. So, though, it is funny to slip one of those, every now and then, through the party. But, for the most part, understand what we're getting into. We ain't trying to oomps all the time. Sometimes you got to just, relax and just, vibe out and just really get to like the meat of like what's life and what's going on with you at that particular moment.
Absolutely.
AKA, it's okay to feel things. And number three, we're just, talking about the music, not the artist's real life, personal or cancelable issues. Again, it's all about the vibe. We're just vibing to the music and the sounds and all that stuff. And of course, if you enjoying the playlist, enjoying this podcast, please throw us a like, a subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's free. This is one of the simplest ways you can support the show by showing us a little love and subscribing and helping us get the numbers up. So that's all we can ask for.
Yep.
Beyond the vibe. But speaking of vibe, let's get into it.
Oh, let's vibe out, bro.
Hell yeah. Let's get all the way vibe. That was so lame. I had to acknowledge that.
I do just want to say that just for me personally, this was a very well-timed listening experience.
Same.
It's been stressful with work and just life in general. Some things have not went according to plan necessarily for me recently. So it's been very nice to just have some very chill music to literally just kick back, kind of clear my head and just soak it in. That's kind of what I've been doing with this playlist. Every time I listen to it, I literally just feel like, metaphorically, I'm just riding the waves of the music. It's
Honestly,
very nice.
Same way, dude. And like what really kind of inspired me to kind of pitch this playlist was like, I've been listening to our playlist along with other music, and I let other people at work DJ from time to time. But then after a while, I'm just like, okay, aren't y'all tired of like partying and turning up and getting ratchet? Like, let's like, I just need a moment to like, I don't want the slow, I don't want nothing depressing per se, but I just need something like a nice middle ground, a nice little calm, chill playlist every now and then. And it's like the perfect blend for me. Like even when I'm like at the height of like my energy levels, putting this on, I feel like I'm the most productive while listening to chill music versus hype music.
Same.
And also I can segue into sleepy time when I don't want to go to sleep, but also I can put this on and like kind of head towards that direction to like calm me down and like, all that good stuff. So that's what really.
That's also dangerous though, because it's definitely led to me having some impromptu naps that I did not plan for.
That is
listening
so
to this
true.
playlist in the afternoon.
That is true, especially towards the latter half. I have a few picks that kind of definitely activated that. Oh, it's time to shut down complex.
Yeah.
Which is like I said, it's a good. Depending on the time. Either way, it has to happen anyway. You got to shut down every once in a while. But yeah, it was definitely some impromptu. Oh, I am about to get this done, and those kind of things happens. But also, a lot of these playlists like this one in particular have definitely been the spark that I needed. Just like, vibing out, listening to the song, and enjoying the breaks within the song. And then all of a sudden, like I have an epiphany because my brain is like clearing out. So I'm like, oh, this is nice. So lo-fi, chill, smooth kind of songs, like everything serves its purpose. You ain't got to be turned up all the time, y'all. It's good to chill out and activate for a little bit.
It's funny because if we want to go back for a second, just to the creation of this playlist, if you remember, it was like all of 10 minutes. I had all my picks.
This was the fastest you submitted any kind of song. It was so funny.
I was talking to this girl recently, and I was sharing music with her that I didn't think was very chill, but literally every song I sent her, she was like, that's very relaxing. And then that, not long after that had happened, that, forming this playlist, and I was able to find my pick so quick, kind of made me stop and think like, a lot of my music is definitely on the chill spectrum somewhere. Apparently that's very much my vibe, just in general. Obviously, if you're at all a fan of the podcast, I definitely can get down with some not chill music and love it very much. But it seems like in general, I have a lot of my like favorited and liked songs across platforms or whatever are at least tones of that chill vibe. So I just thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah. And I've definitely have been more so aware of that trait within myself that I've actually been trying to turn up a little bit more because I'm so chill with my music choices from time to time, and deep cuts and whatnot. But one moment in particular, I wanted to share on the podcast that I thought was hilarious. So I put on this playlist for a road trip with a friend of mine, friend of the podcast, Tim, not Orchestra Tim, but at my piano Tim. Okay. And so I was like, oh yeah, let's go road trip. Let's put this on. And I'm sitting here like I'm vibing out and I'm enjoying it. I'm like, oh man, this thing is slamming. I look over, I'm driving at the time. I look over, Tim in the passenger seat, sleep, knocked out. I was like, what you doing? Like, we just get started. He was like, dude, why are you playing this slow stuff? This music is so relaxing right now. Like, I can't vibe to this. I was like, what you mean? Like, this is good music. He was like, it's all right. It's fine, but it's putting me to sleep. I was like, we ain't left Atlanta yet. You already knocked out. I was like, okay, you know what? I might need to change it up a little bit. So that's what I kind of had epiphany about my own taste. I'm just like, okay, maybe it's not as turned up as I think it was, in my head. But for me, that was like a good barometer of like, it's not too turned up, but not too turned low. But,
Mhm.
for everybody else who's always used to either rocking out or, just unsing or just dancing or throwing bows in the club or whatever, everything ain't for everybody. But out of the most recent playlists that we've made, this one has gotten the most rotation for me because
Yeah.
it's
Same.
giving me the clarity that I need to do stuff, to multitask, to think and jam out at the same time. So kudos to us for putting together a solid human-made playlist for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely been slight spoils, I guess. Literally, there's not a single song on here I don't like. I feel like usually most playlists is at least like one or two I'm kind of like maybe meh, maybe don't totally vibe with it. Every single song on this is like, to me, such a vibe.
Okay, there's one that's it's not bad, but it's definitely a sometiming for me. But I still, if it comes on, I'll listen to it. I won't skip it. But if I'm starting at a particular point in the playlist, it's one of those where I'm just like, I can kind of take it or leave it. But want to get into that one?
I was about to say, you want to just hop in at that? That can be our starting point of the playlist. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so let's not. I ain't trying to dish your boy, but Childish Gambino. Let's talk about Sober.
Okay.
So I like Sober. I think what the issue I had with it is I like the breakdown towards the end. It's good if I let it build up to that, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like a lot of not a lot of it, but I don't know. It's hard to quantify. I guess what I'm trying to say, I feel like a lot of his songs kind of have that same staccato piano where it's like ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just like, okay, which one of those songs is this one? And then I realized this is this one. I was like, okay, I feel like hearing that sound again. So to me, because the lack of variety in that production kind of bothers me a little bit. But overall, it's okay once I let it get to that point. But sometimes, like when I start hearing that, I'm like, okay, I kind of want to skip on to the next one that has more of a vibe. To me, I guess like that little part, the intro of the song, kind of disrupts. It kind of disrupts my vibe a little bit, to be honest, for me.
So this one, I will say. So whenever you first sent me the playlist for me to pick my songs and finish filling it out, you described it as chill summertime vibes. And the whole EP that this is from, I think it's the Kauai EP.
Yeah.
Which is, one of the islands in Hawaii. It came out during the summer of like 2014, 2015. And it was like, I remember that summer for me, this was like I listened to that nonstop the entire summer. So it was definitely just like, whenever I think of like summertime vibes, this is always the whole EP. But this song in particular is probably my favorite off the EP. Is just one that immediately comes to mind. It's definitely not maybe quite as, especially like you said with the breakdown at the end, it definitely kind of separates itself, I guess you could say, from the rest of the chill music. I definitely agree with that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that the song is bad, but it's just, again, it's just one of those songs where it's like, okay, it fits, but also it's like, it's a lot going on in that song too, in the transitions and stuff. So it really kind of somewhat disrupts the vibe a little bit, the flow of it, and then it brings it back into it again. So, which is, not to say it's a bad thing, but for me, that was the one that I was kind of like, I kind of could take it or leave it.
That's fair. I can respect that. Childish Gambino is my boy, so.
Yeah, I know.
I literally love like everything by him all the time.
At any cost. But yeah, what about you? So any other ones that stood out to you in particular or anything like that?
Okay, well, kind of, not really in the same vein, but there's one that it's not that I like it. How do I want to put it? It didn't have the same effect as far as like breaking up the vibe like Sober did for you on the playlist. But this song kind of gets forgotten a little bit to me. And that's Shadow Work by Kromestar.
What?
I like it. It's not that I don't like it. Again, I like literally every song on here, but just that one somehow I like forget about it like every single time until it's like comes up on the playlist. I'm like, oh yeah, this is on the playlist. Bro,
that's my favorite song.
Is it really?
Yes, I love it. It's so good. Like I stumbled across this. And I love the messaging within the song. Like it's so deep. Like I love that part of the song. And then with that song in particular, if you don't have 808s, go find somebody's 808 system or steal one and put that shit in your car or put on some bass headphones. When I say the bass transforms you It's a requirement for that song because you got to hear those lows and that deep lows, and then with what's the name, Katja's soulful voice on top of it, and masking that not masking, complimenting like that bass and eerie kind of sound, and like delivering that message of doing the shadow work, and it's so deep, like literally deep with the bass, but also deep with the lyrics as well. I'm like, it's the perfect song for me. Like, I love it for that reason.
I will say, I somewhat agree. Katja's vocals is probably my favorite part of the song. Yeah. Again, I feel like I'm kind of like dogging it, like by saying that, but I'm really not. It's just that, like, I don't know. I think I liked the rest of the songs on the playlist so much. Like, I don't know, maybe I just didn't quite connect with that one like you did.
Which is
I
crazy.
also didn't like look up the lyrics. It didn't have the lyrics like built into the YouTube music player. So
exactly, which is
maybe that's
the
part
roles
of it.
have inverse.
Yeah,
where I'm like listening to the lyrics and falling in love. Like, I fell in love with it sonically. Let's be real. I'm a sonic person, so sonically I fell in love into it. And I was listening to the lyrics. I was just like, oh, this is deep as hell. So basically, shadow work is a new trend of basically just of therapy, more or less, or self-therapy, of like attacking the issues that you're trying to keep in the dark, your shadow self, your alter ego. So the whole trend now is like, do the shadow work, aka embrace the stuff that the things that you don't like about yourself, and attack it head on and resolve that issue and be like, okay, these are my vices. Okay, let's embrace your vices. Why do you have that vice? What's the reason for that vice? Can you cope with that vice, or do you need to get rid of that vice, or whatever? So that's what the whole point of, the whole point of shadow work is. And this song here is basically reiterating the fact of, until you can embrace your shadow, it's literally like something that you can't get rid of. So True. You need to embrace it, because otherwise you keep fighting your own shadow. You're wasting time and effort and all the energy built into it. So that's why I found the song so profound. And then with the bass on top of it, and then like the subtle bass switches that
I will say, it was
that
definitely
Kromestar.
It was a different experience listening to it in my car with the volume and the bass turned up versus just listening to it in an earbud. With my earbuds in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
I definitely agree with that. Like, I will second your advice to have the bass so you can really feel those 808s turned all the way up.
Oh yeah,
it does enhance it 100%. Oh
yeah, that's bass. Oh, phenomenal, love it. Chef's kiss. Well, getting into your picks, I will have to say, your picks made me hungry.
Is it the sorbet?
It's a combination of sorbet and wings. I'm just like, now I want ice cream and wings looking at this. And then like honey, I'm just like, oh, get some honey, hot honey wings.
I do kind of have some food centric, don't I? Honey and wings aren't talking about the food honey and wings, but now that you say that.
I'm just saying, like, every time I start thinking about it.
And then you can even make the argument anemone might make you hungry for a good, like, crab boil or something,
Look, exactly. I'm just saying. And then, I mean, yeah. So the vibes are your picks. So for transparency, I did the first 7, and then Brandon picked the last 7. But yeah, overall, like I said, your playlist made me hungry, but also I enjoyed your picks as well. I'm talking about your first pick by the Slenderbodies.
Okay.
So I enjoyed it, but I didn't know what they were saying. So at first, when I'm listening to it, I was like, oh, okay, Brandon being all different, picking some foreign language song or whatever. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then I started understanding a few words in English. I was like, hold up, what language is this? And then I was like, you know what? Let me pull up the lyrics. So then I pulled the lyrics up, and I was like, oh, that's what he was saying. But the way he enunciates and the way he sings is so weird. Instead of just like something down below, he was like, I'm like, huh? I didn't know what he was saying. I thought it was a whole other language, and I was just like, oh, that's what he was saying.
Well, it's kind of funny because if you just Google Slenderbodies, it's a pop duo from California or somewhere out west. But like on their little blurb on their own website says pop duo obsessed with guitars and falsetto.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, they're like, his singing is like, it's got that, it definitely has that like kind of higher pitched falsetto, and he does this kind of like I don't know. It's like his words are like, he's like singing it. Like you said, it's definitely a little bit hard to understand. At least the first
with
few
the
times.
falsetto, but also the cadence. So
Well, I was going to say, it's like he morphs the words like to the music.
Yes,
in a way that like makes it definitely a little hard to parse.
Exactly, because I'm just like, what the hell is he saying? Like, what language is this? I was like, I know I'm like, I mean, I can understand a little bit of other languages, but I'm not quadlingual like that. Like, what the? I was so confused, but I enjoyed the vibe of that song. It's very,
it's a good vibe,
smooth.
And it's fun to just say anemone, anemone,
anemone, and I'm just like,
I'm pretty sure this song, because I've had this song in my liked for years, like probably a decade now at this point, and I think this song like taught me officially how to say anemone way back when I first found it. It was definitely one of those words that I feel like tripped me up a lot. Probably trips up a lot of people, I feel like.
Exactly.
So yeah, if you have trouble saying the word anemone, just listen to the song on repeat for a few times, and you'll be stuck in your head and you'll never mispronounce it again.
You'll never mispronounce it, and then you'll just start like just break it up single syllable words into like 5 or 6 different syllables. Like, I'm like, what? Okay. Like, so you're just gonna make that word fit, huh? So, but yeah, and I enjoyed the vibe of that one a lot. That was pretty cool.
Okay, well, another one that I really enjoyed the vibe of, Stay the Same. Your first one, I'm gonna go stay on trend. I haven't really listened. I used to love Bonobo. I haven't listened to him probably since like 2017, 2018 maybe.
Yeah.
In the past, he was always one of those artists like from maybe like 2012 to about that time, like for those 5 or 6 years. Anytime he'd come out with an album, it would like, there was a moment where it was like, I would stop what I was doing and I would listen to the album. Like he was one of those artists for me. And then for some reason, I just completely forgot about him for years and years now. And then you put him on here at the top. I'm pretty sure it's a him at least.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wasn't familiar with Stay the Same.
Oh, really?
When did that come out?
2010 actually. So so that song came out on their album, on the album Black Sands. So I that was around the time I was kind of sort of starting to get into EDM and learning about the different sounds of that genre. And Bonobo will pop up every now and then. I think I learned about him around the same time I learned about Tori Imori or something like that. Yeah. So and then one morning before work, I was like, oh, I forgot about Bonobo. Let me listen to the best of Bonobo playlist or whatever. So I just put that on and I'm showering and everything. And then that song came on. I was like, oh, this it. This it right here. And the singer Andreya, Triana, I don't have much information about her, but the trend stands. Everybody get your drinking glasses out. It's another European, UK British artist and singer, both Bonobo and Andreya. Now, granted, Bonobo is more LA based these days, but yeah, Andreya is a UK singer, songwriter, soul singer and stuff. So and just that vibe of that song was just like it was perfect. Like, and I figure like this is the best way to start off the playlist. It kind of just absolutely get you right into it.
So yeah, going back to that album, Black Sand, I definitely listened to this album. I guess I just didn't remember that song because it's been so long.
It's towards the end of the album as well.
Because also I will say, I didn't really, if I recall correctly, back whenever I did listen to him regularly back in the day, I had a habit of literally just putting on an album and just letting the whole thing run.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of his songs from up until looks like Migration 2017 was the last album I remember listening to. So pretty much any album of his up to that point, probably couldn't tell you very many of his songs because they just all are like, oh, that's from this album. Like that's all I know. Right? Exactly.
And I'm pretty much the same way with that. Like I just listened to his the first, not first two, but the Northern Borders and Black Sands are like the main two that I listened to a lot when I kind of discovered who he was. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to this. And then I kind of forgot about him entirely. And looking back now, like he has some new material that came out as of 2022. He had like a new album that came out and he's doing some stuff for Adult Swim and stuff. So
I was about to say that, yeah.
So, but
for Lazarus, again, whatever that is.
Yeah, it looks like a anime for Adult Swim. Yeah. But yeah, so shouts out to Bonobo, like still out here doing a thing. Dude's been in the game for a good minute, and I'm glad to see that EDM and the dubstep equivalent DJs and stuff are still out here doing their thing, just morphing with the music and not necessarily like falling off per se. So,
and thank you for just reminding me that he exists, because now I have like 2 or 3 albums since Migration came out in 2017 that I can go back and listen to. That will be new experiences for me. So
absolutely,
I've been holding off on that just because I've had so much music to listen to the last little bit, but I definitely am going to in the very, very near future.
Absolutely. I already got my stuff queued up.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of queued up, let's talk about one of my other favorite things in the world, and that's wings. I love me some good chicken wings. But let's talk about Mac Miller's wings, though, actually. So somebody who I know of Mac Miller, but I've never really been like a hardcore fan of his music.
Honestly, same.
And like, if he happened to appear on something, great. If he, if it's a bop or something I like, cool. But outside of the most I knew about him was when he unfortunately passed. That's when I was like, oh, dang, I just, was looking forward to having a long career, in the music industry. But unfortunately, life does other things. So this was like the most I've really kind of like listened to him, other than like the collaborations he did with like Ariana Grande and stuff like that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But like listening to this song in particular, I can see why he is regarded as, as highly as he has been. Because he definitely shows a lot of skill sets on this particular record. With the singing and the poetry of it all, the spoken word, the rapping of it all. Especially on that emptiness of the beat, like you have no choice but to listen to the cadence of the voice, and that's like without I mean, obviously, there's a metronome, there's a beat that he's following, but a lot of it doesn't even have like the kicks or whatever, and it's just him kind of just speaking on rhythm, and like that's something a fraction of that being off can ruin the whole vibe.
It definitely highlights his talent. That's a thought I've had repeatedly listening to this song. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so got to give credit where credit is due. So I made like this, like just like how, well, this gonna be I'm gonna phrase this in the best way possible. Thank you for reminding me that Mac Miller existed. Technically,
yes.
So now I want to go back and catch up on some of his previous works. Now I feel worthy of like, oh, you know what, I might should give it a good listen, because at the time I was kind of like, okay, now just another guy doing the thing, but now
right,
my eyes and ears have been open to the talent that was there.
Well, I'm getting actually the exact same boat you are. This so I initially had another song on here that you rightfully asked if I had a replacement for, because it was like a very already super popular, well-known, kind of overplayed song.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of ironic because I was messaging a friend at the time, and I was just telling him about this playlist, and I was just telling him how I thought it was kind of funny how quickly I was able to find all my picks. Kind of like we said at the beginning of the episode, I obviously have a very chill streak in me. And then he was like, oh, well, if you're looking for chill music, I just recently stumbled across Wings by Mac Miller. And at first I was like, oh, I already got my picks, but thanks, I'll definitely like give that a listen and maybe add it to one down the road. But then like later that day you came back and said, hey, do you have a replacement? And I was like, well, let me go listen to Wings, because I'm also not super familiar. I really didn't even start listening to Mac Miller like at all until after he had passed away. Mm-hmm. And I've not dived deep into him. I've listened to like some of his like bigger hits, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just I put Wings on just to listen to it real quick just before I decided to add it, and it just fit so well. Like everything you said, the negative space and his talent of just staying on beat and everything, the subject matter. And I wanted to have a little bit, and I wanted to have at least one or two kind of more chill hip hop songs. I didn't want to just go full EDM, which I almost did. I had to kind of pull back. And I was like, well, let me get some variation in here. Was a shout out to my friend Jamie for recommending Wings by Mac Miller. And I am also like I said, I'm in the exact same boat you are. Mm-hmm. He's an artist that I've been meaning to do this for a while, but this song in particular, it's also the same album that 2009, which I used way back when on the orchestra or like the symphony backtrack.
The playlist battle we did way early on.
Way early on. So
Wow, okay.
I have a feeling the whole album might be kind of more of a chill vibe, and that kind of gets me excited to go back and listen to this whole album.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I didn't even bother to look that up.
The album is Swimming, by the way.
Yep, that was the same album. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay, you know, and the funny thing is that, like, I kept looking at the cover art, and I was like, why does the cover art look familiar? Oh well.
Yep, that's
like, it's just one of those things where, like, it was at the back of my mind, but I never really went back to actually listen to it. Interesting. Yeah, so I wonder if this album is gonna be like, it's kind of deep like that, or to where, like, you know, you talk about these kind of things or whatever. So interesting.
It seems to be, because I remember 2009 also kind of having some kind of deeper, more. It's also kind of a chill, you know, with more of a symphony orchestral type sound or whatever.
Yeah. I remember that 2009 song being about, like, logging off and, like, not being on the internet kind of deal.
Right.
For a while.
So I'm definitely going to go back and listen to that and just his stuff in general. He also has several, like, posthumous songs that have come out that I have listened to that are pretty good. He's super talented. He definitely gives me the same... I didn't think to look this word up. There's a word I use to describe how I feel about Jimi Hendrix at the end of that episode. About just, like, the feeling of someone who passed before their time and, like, what could have been. It's like a specific word. It's like a very weird niche word that I looked up just for that episode that I can't remember.
The word you're looking for is anemoia, spelled Anemoia, anemoia.
But it definitely gives me that same sense of feeling of just, like, I honestly think with his talent, if he had stayed alive, he definitely could. He had the chops to become, like, one of the greatest.
Yeah. I can see that now. Actually having to listen to Wings in particular, and then also thinking about 2009, because even then that song itself wasn't a bad song. I just didn't, for that particular playlist battle, there were definitely more choices. There were better choices, but overall the song itself wasn't bad, and I did like how the song transitioned and grew and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to kind of go down that rabbit hole of Mac Miller to see what was there.
Yeah.
Speaking of going down other rabbit holes, I'm going to talk about one of my own picks.
Okay.
That I think you may be like, how, but also knowing me, you probably wasn't even like shocked at all. But let's talk about Joe Jonas. And,
I actually I have some things to say about this song with Joe Jonas and Luisa Sonza.
Okay, go for it.
Well, she's a Brazilian artist.
Yes.
And I was recently, went on a few dates and was talking to this Brazilian lady. And in the process of early on in us talking, we were sharing music back and forth. And she sent me a whole bunch of Luisa Sonza just because she sent me like one song. And I was like, oh, I actually like really like her. I don't know at all what she's saying because it was all like songs in Portuguese from Brazil, right? But I was like, I really like her voice. And she was like, oh, you like her voice? Here you go. And just like spammed a bunch of different songs by her. So it was kind of weird because it was like maybe a week or two after that had happened, we made this playlist and you sent it to me. And I was sitting there listening to this and I was like, looking at the title or, the artist, I'm like, Luisa song, why does that sound so familiar? And then, of course, halfway through the song, she comes in and she's literally singing like in Portuguese on the song. And it just, I was like, oh man, no wonder. Yeah, Luisa Sonza, she's awesome. I'm so glad this is in here. Joe Jonas is okay. He's all right. To me, Luisa Sonza makes the song.
I mean, 1,000%.
Even though I don't know at all what she's saying. I didn't look up the lyrics, like translations at all. You don't need to. It's such a vibe, even without that.
The vibe, I understood the vibe. Like, she understood the assignment, regardless of it being in Portuguese or not. So, okay, so here's the thing. I've never was like a Disney kid. I never grew up with all of that Hannah Montana, High School Musical crap or whatever. Like, that was out of my time frame. So I wasn't really into all of that. So I was watching like some other podcasts, and then Joe Jonas was on there, and they were just chopping it up and talking about it. And then he was like, yeah, I got some new music coming out, and it's the first album that I came out with in 14 years. And I was like, huh? Jonas Brothers still been making music? And then I remember, I was like, oh shoot, Joe Jonas had a song with Lil Wayne like way back in the day that was like kind of bubbling up for a little bit. And that I
might have blanked that from my memory. I don't.
You probably have, because at that point Lil Wayne was on everybody's song. But like that was during that time frame, because like Lil Wayne was like with Madonna, Shakira, like everywhere. Lil Wayne was everywhere,
right?
And that was like my first Jonas experience at all, was listening to that album, and that's when he kind of went more pop, bass and more pop and more. Well, he's already pop, but more I guess fuse more hip hop and R&B into the pop sound or whatever.
Kind of left it like Disney Channel kitty vibe behind a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. Trying to say, hey guys, I'm grown. Look at me. No more purity ring. I'm not pure anymore. So anyway, so then I was like, okay, well, I'm thinking to myself, surely he's had music since then. But then, you mentioned that I haven't came out with no new music in 14 years. So I was like, holy shoot, like that's a lot of development, a lot of growth or whatever else. So I was like, okay, well, I ain't got nothing else to do today, or I do, but let me just put this on.
Choose not to do it.
I choose not to do it. Why not just? I'm curious. Let's go down this rabbit hole. Let me just put this album on and just let it go. So I put the album on, and the album that just came out this year is like music for people who believe in love. That title was like that captured me along. Anyway, so I'm just like, okay, I believe in love sometimes. So I was like, okay. Let's I know asterisk. I'm not completely cold-hearted. I might be jaded and going through some things, but we're working on it. Therapy's cool. So I decided to put this album on, and I was like, let me just put it on, just let it ride. And I mean, I'm not the demo for his music per se. I don't think. Not to say that it's bad or good. It's just, to me, it's indifferent. Like the pop.
I don't know if I want a whole album of that. I think this is a very cute, somewhat romantic kind of song, but I don't know if I want a whole album of that.
But that's the thing though. This song stands out on the album because it's different. Even though it's cookie cutter and cute, but it's like the other songs are more pop, acoustic. That whole almost like grown up, but Disney Channel kind of clean vibe, not like, you know what I mean? So, and I was like, okay, this ain't whatever. But then this song came on, and I was getting like the soul samba kind of vibe. And I was like, okay, my head started rocking, shoulder started moving a little bit. And I was like, okay, cool. All right. This is kind of cute. It's all right. I like the vibe on this. And then your girl showed up, and I was like, add this to the playlist. Like, she just to me, Joe Jonas isn't one like the world's, like, he's not going to be on our powerhouse male singers playlist ever, but
unless he radically improves somehow.
Oh yeah, or like finally, like lets go of like the valve that's like keeping him down.
Yeah,
and like he's finally like cuts loose. But on this song in particular, I enjoy the fact of like the chemistry between the two is lovely, and the singing is nice. And I like how it's understated. For like this kind of song, you don't need to be powerhouse. It's all about kind of just
I agree.
Kind of just like conversational, more so to speak. And I enjoy the fact that your boy can hit them notes that Joe Jonas is singing or talking in these songs. So I'm like, okay. So naturally, my mind, I'm like, okay, whenever I snatch me up a Brazilian girl or whatever, I'm like, hey, I got a song for you. And then also like the lyrics of the song is very dope. I enjoy the lyrics of the song.
It's very sweet. I agree.
Very sweet. So I'm just like, oh. So I'm like, yeah. This playlist ended up becoming more like a chill, but also like lovey-dovey kind of sort of.
Well, your picks in particular definitely got me in my feels a little bit. Some of your songs.
Yeah, your boy was feeling things at the moment.
Speaking of, I want to talk about another one of your picks that definitely got me in the feels a little bit here and there. Even a little bit. You sent me the music video to this song yesterday,
bro,
and the music video is like, it's beautifully done, and it's just like it highlights. It was already, I thought, a beautiful song, right? Of course, let me tell what song it is. Pure Devotion by Timbaland featuring Favelababy.
Yes.
It's just like, it's a beautiful song, but what got me every time when it would get me, because it didn't get me every time, but there was a few times where I was just like, I don't know, it just caught me right in the right mood. I was like, oh damn. Okay. And it's literally like her at the end, her like little speech of just like, you deserve the best, you deserve love, like you deserve pure devotion, like, because the vast majority, I was trying to say everyone, the vast majority of people in the world do, I think, on many levels deserve, if you're going to be in a relationship, you deserve a relationship where you get that pure devotion from your partner. And it's just, as someone who is currently single, like I said, I'm out dating in the dating world, and it's tough out here in 2025 in the dating world. So just to hear that definitely like hits a kind of sensitive chord for where I'm currently at in life a little bit.
Same. And everything you said, the same thing I felt as well. Because a while back, like I was following Timbaland on Instagram or whatever, and like he was teasing new music, new music, new music, and Timbaland's my boy, but also I can see now he's definitely in the era of which is great. I'm happy that he's gotten to this point now to where he just literally is just like I will put Timbaland and Snoop Dogg in the same category, meaning they just do whatever the fuck they want to do, whether there's no rhyme or reason that they feel the spark, they just gonna do it. Like they don't got to reason the whole project, and I'm here for it, and I appreciate it. So I would say over the past few months, as of recording, Timbaland has released a meditation album, a African music album, which a few
I haven't
AI
finished
projects.
listening to it, but that African music album does kind of slap.
It does, right? So, but even then, it's just like, okay. I mean, you out here, you doing whatever you feel. So when he announced this new song coming up, I didn't know what to expect or whatever. So I was like, okay, sure, new music drop, and I got the notification, and I played it one time, and I instantly fell in love with Favelababy's voice, like that. Oh goddamn. So and the poetry behind it is beautiful. So then I kind of did a little bit of research into Favelababy a little bit, and like she's TikTok, Instagram, like she does all these different kind of poetry stuff, and it's just I'm a big fan of spoken word poetry, especially from talented melanated women. Absolutely love it. So that was part of the intrigue, and then the music video that is done in portrait, I might add.
Yes, which is also an interesting decision.
And I enjoyed that, and that got me in my feels because, I want to be that person eventually.
Right.
I know. I'm just like, damn, I want some pure devotion. Damn, be devoted to me, god dang it. That was not a cry for help. That was just, feelings. So that had me thinking. So then I was like, okay, this is dope. This is cool. Now, the other thing about the song that has me conflicted, and I was trying to find some information about it, but due to time constraints and just that stuff that's out there, I don't know exactly because I haven't been following Timbaland exactly on social media every waking moment because I have a life of my own. But I know that Timbaland is heavy into the AI stuff as of late.
It does kind of have an AI feel. Yeah, I was going to bring that up if you didn't.
Yes. So, and he actually is like a part founder, I believe, of a company called Sumo or something like that, which he calls it Baby Timbaland. So that's his AI version of himself or fusions of himself or whatever. And as of late, there was like a little brief controversy where, he was just feeling inspired and kind of just playing around, with the new toy. And like, that's one thing I admire about Timbaland as a producer. He has the same energy as Stevie Wonder, where like you come across with like a new gadget, a new toy, and you just want to play around with it and just
like a kid in a toy store with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about creating and all having fun. So, in his apology that he put out, he mentioned that as well. So there was a mini controversy to where fans could submit, different songs or whatever, and like he would kind of just play around with it and like remix it and put it on social media or whatever, just kind of having fun with it because he does like live streams and all this other stuff too now. So the long story short of the situation is he got a record that he thought was clear, but apparently it wasn't because it was somebody else's material. And then fans were accusing him of feeding the AI machine somebody else's material, stolen music. Timbaland out here stealing music, painting that whole narrative, which, clearly wasn't the case. It was
Timbaland of all people doesn't need to steal anyone's music. Like,
I mean, the guy's been in the game for over about 40 something years now at this point. So it's like if anything, he could upload his own archive of music. So it's not like he needs to steal other people's music. So yeah. So all that was going on with that. So and listening back to the song, obviously Favelababy at the end of the song, 100% real person, real artist. But listening to the lyrics and the performance of the singer, quote unquote, that very, very much feels AI ish or AI inspired. So from what I can tell from the information I was able to find online, Timbaland and Favelababy collaborated as far as like the lyrics for the singing and all that stuff. But I think the voice itself is an AI voice that they use to sing the lyrics, but the lyrics are written by Favelababy and Timbaland collaboration on that part of it. And obviously the production was done by Timbaland. So that's where I feel conflicted, because it does kind of give me, not to keep saying that Timbaland only worked with Aaliyah, but it definitely kind of gives me Aaliyah-esque vibes. And I'm just like, like there's so many artists out here that you really could use, but also understand using a tool in conjunction with your skill set. If you're doing it completely 100% AI and not having any part of the creative process, I have a problem with that. But if you're using it in conjunction with something as a tool, I'm in that gray area with that.
Yeah, I definitely give you a little bit more leeway for that. But it is, I agree with you on that. It's a little conflicting is I think the best word, honestly.
Yeah. Well, regardless, it's still a bop.
Yeah. And I do also love, I didn't really pay, I kind of, like I heard it, but I didn't really key in on it. But in the music video, it kind of makes it more prominent whenever you just, like in between, bars or stanzas, if you want to stick to the poetry type jargon, Timbaland will just randomly be like,
okay.
And it cuts to him in the music video, or like his the artistic representation of him, and it literally will just half a second it'll just be him like in the recording booth, or like in the producer's booth, just and then it cuts back, and it cracked me up a little bit. I didn't really key in on it because that's like an ad-lib like background kind of sound. It's just like it adds and builds out the sound in those empty spaces. You kind of most of the time just gloss over that stuff, but the music video, every single time he did it, almost it like drew attention to it, which just I thought was hilarious.
It's hilarious in general because that's Timbaland's trademark. Like before, a lot of producers will kind of have their own little sound, but Timbaland always be in the background. You always do those little weird sounds. But for the AI, for the video, the thing that really made me, obviously you can tell it's AI, but the thing about AI right now in its current incarnation, the AI tools can only generate up to a certain amount of footage or a certain scene for a limited amount of seconds. So watching a video, it's a lot of cuts. It's all together, but it's a lot of cuts. You don't see like a long drawn out scene. So I think the most that like most AI tools can use things like maybe like 8 seconds or 8 to 10 seconds worth of a scene. Like that. So, but like in watching the video, which is in vertical, because obviously everybody's on their phones. So that was an interesting decision. But also just watch it, you see it keeps cutting from here, cutting from this scene, cutting that scene, and then also re-splicing in previous scenes and, those kind of things. So just looking at the editing style of that video, it was interesting. But again, using the tools that are available to you at the time. And then he's actually in conjunction with this software that he's a part of, the record music industry has changed quite a bit. So now there's a new evolution of the record label that's out there now that's like technology forward. And then as far as distributing music, like, and things of that nature, to where like artists like Sexy Red, Snoop Dogg, a few other people have signed on to this record quote unquote label called Gamma, which was put together by a former CEO from Apple, I think, and then not former CEO, but a former person from Apple, I believe, and then another tech investor, and then like another former executive kind of got together to form this whole conglomerate thing, to where it's like the artist makes the music and it just goes straight to distribution, like kind of cutting out the middleman, so to speak. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop kind of deal. Again, morphing with the times as far as getting the music out to people and uploading to all these different things. So it's interesting how the tools are there. But ultimately, I would say the song gets you in your feels. However it was made, it was very conflicting, but still, impactful regardless. So
yeah. Well, okay, you picked 2 in a row, so I guess I'll just keep on rolling with that, and I'll pick one of my songs now we can talk about. Let's go to the very end. I'm God by Clams Casino, and I guess technically it's and Imogen Heap. I didn't say that at the beginning, but mostly Clams Casino. Whenever I first found the song, I always just knew it as I'm God by Clams Casino. I never knew Imogen Heap, whoever that even is. Yeah. But yeah, are you familiar at all with Clams Casino?
No, not at all.
So he's kind of, I think, fallen a little bit into obscurity. I don't know let me check real quick if he's even come out with anything kind of recent. 2022 was his last. It was not super recent, but kind of, but really in the like early to mid 2010s, he was kind of a kind of growing in popularity producer. He had a lot of songs kind of like this, where it's kind of like more very chill, EDM, but he also produced for a lot of different artists like Travis Scott.
Okay.
I think maybe like Joey Badass, ASAP, a couple of the ASAPs, I think. There's so many ASAPs. But yeah, so he kind of, I thought at the time, because I first discovered him around that era, and I was like, oh man, this guy's gonna be like the next big producer. But I think kind of his kind of chill production vibe that he kind of goes for most of the time, it's not a super, when it comes to hip hop, I feel like it's not super popular.
Well,
at least at that time, it wasn't like, I mean, he had his heyday, but it like kind of grew like out of that stage.
I can see that.
As a genre.
I can see
somewhat.
that. I mean, had I, okay, never mind. I'll let you finish that thought before I say mine.
Oh, that was basically the end of my thought.
Okay. So listening to that song, it definitely kind of gave me, they're different artists and different type of music, but it definitely gave me Fantagram vibes a little bit, like that kind of alternative pop kind of sound with the samples and everything. Like I could totally like see like Sarah Brothel's like voice over that kind of beat.
I actually could see that too.
Yeah, so that was the vibe I was getting from it, and that's and me being a huge Fantagram fan, I was like, okay, like this is perfect. So yeah, this is a perfect way to end the playlist. I love it.
I thought so.
It was great. Yeah, it was great. And it starts off kind of subtle, but then it just kind of it builds and builds and builds, and then you're still vibing out, So yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. I didn't know about him doing all the production stuff. I don't even know who Imogen Heap is. Who's that?
I don't either.
Okay.
If I'm being completely honest,
Okay.
It might have been the one who did the somewhat vocals on the song, maybe, or I don't know if that's another producer that helped them with it.
Yeah, from what I can tell, I think it's another producer that they kind of collaborated together. But
because he did also work with several other producers.
Yeah,
I didn't write any of them down or anything, but whenever I was looking them up a couple days ago, he worked with several both hip hop and EDM producers whenever he was like in his heyday.
Yeah,
about 10 years or so ago.
Yeah, it's a good vibe. Like, I mean, I enjoy it for what it is. I mean, there's not really lyrics in it. It's like a sample lyric or something that repeats itself over and over. But beyond that, just the vibe of it all, like I enjoyed that song when it came on. And then it was one of those, I don't know, I guess it's like from where we started on the playlist, and then with it concluding, god dang it, concluding with that song, it felt like a triumph. You know what I mean? Like it felt like okay, we made it. This is the end. Like roll credits. Like I can see like the credits rolling. I'm like, yay, that was a good journey. I'm ready for the next adventure. So like that was the vibe I was getting from this song, and it definitely puts me in a good headspace in a positive way. The title, I don't know the significance of the title, but
okay. So I have two fun facts about the song and Clams Casino. Since you just mentioned the title. This is going off of memory. I just remembered this literally just earlier today. I forgot to look it up to verify, but I'm pretty sure this is true. He has another song. I mean, he definitely has another song called I'm Devil or I'm the Devil. And if I remember right, I think it's basically this song, but reversed and kind of remixed in a way. Or it's the same kind of beat, but he flips it and plays it and like I said, tweaks it a little bit. And that was always interesting because back in the day, we would always play these songs, both of these back to back. So it would be I'm God followed by I'm Devil or whatever. And it was they definitely mesh and match each other very well. Second fun fact, and this was something I discovered because I've always wondered, Clams Casino, what is that? Just I love alliteration, so I never super wondered where that came from. But in Googling him for this episode, it's actually a food. Clams Casino is it's like a dish. So I guess that's where he got the name from. Because I just Googled Clams Casino and it popped up how to make Clams Casino. I was like, what?
Okay.
It's like a fried clam type. It's like a Midwestern type dish, I think. If I remember right.
Okay.
Yeah, random fun facts there for you.
Yeah, I am not going to tell you what I was thinking about Clams Casino was in my mind. It
probably much, much dirtier if I know you. And I can't even lie, my mind definitely went there in the past, so you're not even alone in that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta hit the jackpot, you know what I mean? All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into two of my favorite picks real quick. Now, on this particular song, I enjoyed the song for the production and everything, and it's a great song. And I look at the artist's name, and I was just like, okay, this is a random collection of letters. I'll take the time and actually read it later at some point. And then that point came, and I kind of just looked at it. I was like, okay, what is this? Let me take the time to actually look at this. And the amount of joy that came from me realizing what it was. It's like, is this guy's name Mr. FijiWiji? I was like, that's funny. So I kept saying it for the rest of that day, FijiWiji, FijiWiji.
It's fun to say.
It's fun to say. That song is good, man. Again, just another one of those vibes. And I'm a sucker for a good EDM kind of beat. True. And that just took me right there. Like that's right there in my wheelhouse. And I even like how it picks up towards the end, like picks up a little pace. I enjoy that. It's such a good vibe in my opinion.
Okay.
So.
I'm gonna have to do it to you just a little bit. You I think don't remember, but I actually sent this song to you way back when.
What?
It came out in 2015. I remember sending this song to you way back in 2015, and
okay.
I specifically recall you saying you liked it, but it was like too slow for you or something along those lines. It was like you didn't really vibe with it at the time. I don't know if like where you were at in your EDM journey at that point necessarily. If maybe that was you weren't quite perceptive to it. I remember being disappointed that I just initially, as soon as I heard this, I was like, oh, I love this. Is such a chill, like good relaxation song. Just put on and have in the background. I sent it to you and you were like, it's good, but I was like, what?
Okay. All right. So to be fair, in my early on EDM era, and as with many things in life, I tend to go in the difficult route first and then kind of work my way down. Like I was introduced to Magic and then learned Yu-Gi-Oh! And then learned Pokemon. Most people went the other way around. I don't like any of it anymore. But that's the way my gateway came into it. So I came in through robots fucking with EDM. So that's what I was used to.
The dubstep, which dubstep 2015 was peak
aggressive.
Dubstep.
Exactly, like the dirty, aggressive, hardcore dubstep. So that's what I was used to. So then when you introduced this to me, I was just like, oh, this is like acid jazz with like a hint of like EDM. But again, as with taste buds and growth and life and things changing, I'm at a point now where I can say, old Terrio, what the fuck was you thinking?
Because I was literally, whenever I put it on here, and I immediately knew this was like one of the songs that literally just immediately popped in my head for this playlist. I didn't even really go looking for it. Mm-hmm. But whenever I've added it to the playlist, I did have the thought of like, I wonder if he's going to like it now or not.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that you've come around finally. It took 10 years, but you finally.
I mean, hey, eventually.
You probably would have liked it before, to be fair. Probably would have liked it earlier if I had resent it earlier on. But
I mean, potentially, but the fact being that I didn't even realize that you sent this to me. I mean, but here's the thing though, and I will say this. In my mind, it felt acutely familiar, but I didn't know how or where I've heard it from. But I just kind of, it was like that fleeting thought, and I just kind of just let that go and just enjoy the vibe, But that's funny. You actually brought that back to my memory like that because I didn't even remember feeling that way exactly. But now, current day Terrio, I enjoy Mr. FijiWiji.
Which, I definitely would not have assumed this is just a very standard white dude named Brendan Galdo.
Mm-hmm.
He's an American, 29 years old as of recording this. Okay. Mr. FijiWiji, I definitely thought he was going to be like some kind of Asian like ethnicity producer. That's probably my own wrong bias coming in. I can own up to that and accept that. But yeah, it's just a random dude who all of his music is like all in this vein. He specializes in chill out, kind of like you said, like definitely EDM, but he's got a lot of like down tempo kind of almost jazzy type.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes me happy that you like it though.
Yeah, that one, and I like Honey too, like and Honey with the Kučka.
I think it's Kučka because it's got the little not asterisk accent mark over the C. I think that I don't know if that I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I didn't look up how to pronounce it, but I feel like Kučka just sounds like something that's like some kind of 18 plus site video or something.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a category for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Which, again, you talked about, I think it was Kromestar maybe, and Katja were talking about our European.
Yes.
Kučka definitely keeps my streak alive of liking Australian artists.
Okay.
She's an Australian kind of like poppy. She has a lot of songs that are in this vein. They're kind of like down tempo, kind of chill songs. Of course, this is the Medasin remix.
Yes.
Which Medasin is just a American producer who has remixed a lot of songs. This is literally the only song by him that I know personally, but just looking him up, apparently he this is also kind of his niche sound wise. He remixes a lot of songs that are kind of in this sound.
Yeah. So the thing, okay, and I hate to do this, but this is the only way that my brain can process it, because I don't think it's fair to compare artists to other artists per se like that. But this song, in particular, this remix, and the way Kučka is singing in this song, she reminds me of a British singer named Neo. And Neo, her natural voice is like kind of falsetto-esque, so to speak, very high pitched, and her singing voice matches that. Unlike like Michelle or whatever. I just love the disposition between aggressive EDM kind of beats with a soft
it comes
voice
in,
on top of it.
It's still chill, but it definitely it comes in with some punch to it for sure.
Yeah, with some it be like it has some space, but it kind of hits you. It's like instead of like boom boom, it's like boom boom. So you still get hit in the face with it, but you got that negative space in between.
Her singing like kind of matches that, because she'll have like some of her lines are like kind of dun dun dun, and then it's like right after that it's like dun.
Exactly.
I don't know if that totally gets across. If you listen to the song, I promise I don't make sense. But
yeah, 100%. Because she's following a beat, and then she's using that negative space, and that beat is also using a negative space. So it's like they're kind of off. They're kind of not offsetting, but like alternating between the two. It seems like.
And now I will admit, I've not listened to just like Honey by Kučka, like the original. I don't know exactly like how much of a remix Medasin did for this. Like I don't know how much of what that specifically what we were just talking about is like from the original song, and how much of that is from Medasin's like remixing of the sound of the song.
Fair enough.
But I love the song so much. I kind of I've never felt the need to go back. Like this is already like such a perfect chill song for me.
Well, I mean, apparently, I think you have the same opinion as everybody else, because looking at it on Spotify, the remix has 10 times as much plays as the original. So clearly, Medasin had the right medicine for Kučka.
Yep.
With that remix,
which also another realization I had just in making this playlist. This is another song that I have loved and listened to repeatedly on and off for years. It came out in 2016. Pretty sure I found it initially in 2016. Never had said Medasin out loud before, and my brain never put together that that's like a play on like
the word medicine.
Medicine like you would get like from a pharmacy. So yeah, I had a really facepalm feeling dumb moment when I realized that earlier this week.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you had that earlier this week. I had it earlier this episode when you read the playlist out loud.
Oh,
I did, because in my mind I was like, oh, okay.
Well, at least for you though, it's been like what a few weeks, give or take, of you being familiar with this. It's been like a decade almost of me being familiar before I realized. So
that's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that one.
I sat in my ignorance for a long time on that one.
I mean, sometimes in life you got to.
Let's go to Morning Glory by Jamiroquai. I'm familiar with Jamiroquai, but I've not listened to like really not even like a medium amount of Jamiroquai. I think he's just one of those artists that is just like, if you're at all like a R&B kind of hip hop fan, his name has come up.
Well, so here's the thing, that Jamiroquai has happened upon me, not necessarily like
that's how I feel. Yeah, I'm exactly in that same boat. Yes, I've never once went looking for Jamiroquai, but I've definitely had him just happened upon me without my consent. But it was
exactly
okay.
just non-consensual Jamiroquai. If you have been attacked by Jamiroquai, you might be entitled to compensation. No, I'm kidding. So here's the thing about Jamiroquai that I thought was fascinating for me, getting to know him and researching them a lot more. It is in fact a them, not necessarily like the pronoun them, but meaning that it's actually a band. I thought it was a person.
That's news to me. I thought it was a dude this whole time.
Yeah. So the lead singer from Jamiroquai, his name is JK, JAYKAY, JK. Not like joking, but JK. So that's them, and they're again following the trend with me. Get your shot glasses. A English acid jazz and funk band from London, and they've been like active since 1992. This song actually came out in 1994. Oh, so I was born. Yes. So
as a song, I wonder what month it came out. I wonder if this song is older than I am by a couple months, or if I have it.
It may be.
It probably. My birthday's in November, so the odds are in favor of it being older than me.
Let's see.
It's got actually 2 odds. Oh, it came out in December? I'm older than this? No, hold up. Are you older? No, math. Okay, no. The album came out in October 1994. So barely. You just missed it. Barely
missed it. So, but yeah, so they've been active since 1992. This song came out on their second album, called The Return of the Space Cowboy. Which was released, like I said, in October 1994. And they were basically like, I guess they were funk inspired, kind of considered like acid jazz around that time. And you definitely can feel the vibe of like the soul influences and stuff. So much so that their first album was okay, but the second album got praise from critics for incorporating vintage Stevie Wonder sounds and like Sly Stone influences within their music, and like kind of lumped into that whole jazz kind of sound or soul. But it's kind of hard to explain. But like, I guess for that first album was kind of like, okay, people were like, what is this? And then by the time the second album came out, they're like, oh wow, you guys really stepped it up. Y'all did some improvements. The performance is better. The song choices are better, and the instrumentation is better. A little fun little nugget: since the band was formed in 1992. Right now, as of now, 3 of the original members are still active in the lineup. So they have kind of cycled out a few people within the band, but 3 of the OG members are still active with the band to this day. And allegedly, they're supposed to have some new music coming out. They've been talking about it since like late last year, 2024. They have some new music coming out. So
okay, new Jamiroquai on the way
in 2025. Like that's crazy.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Question for you then. Has Jamiroquai, they've been like sampled a bunch? Why do I associate them with like R&B? Like, okay, they have been sampled like heavily in R&B and hip hop, right? Like that's kind of why. Because my mental association is them as a sample, or like as the music on a track like that.
100%.
So, okay, which it is. I will say also, it is kind of surprising to me that this is from like 1994, because if you had like just quizzed me before you said that, I would have definitely not have picked. Like it has a slightly more modern, like it doesn't sound dated, I guess is how I want to say.
Exactly, it's timeless, and like and to me that goes to show like the quality of the music. Like when you're not pigeonholed to a particular sound of the time and you're just making pure music, it goes throughout time. It doesn't age because it's music in its purest form. And I hate to be hippy dippy about it, but this song in particular is just like it's so soothing, and like just the instrumental break and the pan flutes and all that stuff. Like it's just so great. Like I love it so much. And the title itself, in general, like the second album basically talks about JK's struggles with being in the streets and drug addictions and going through those kind of difficult times, especially in the 90s. When things were way more. I mean, they're chaotic now, but it was definitely more wild west kind of situation out there back then. But but in the lyrics and all those different things. But in this particular song, Morning Glory, the song Morning Glory kind of refers to basically starting anew, like starting over and like enjoying the fruits of being able to start fresh and have a new beginning and kind of let go of the past and all of that kind of good stuff. So that's what the lyrics are kind of, you know, that's the message within the lyrics, and also how the music is conveying, like, you know, starting over and, you know, getting a fresh, clean slate, especially after going through some stuff. So like looking forward to like a brand new day.
Yeah, I think that's a very positive message. I do have a small confession. Because this was your final pick before we get into my picks, and obviously I love all of my picks, and I love this song. Do not get me wrong. Do not misconstrue what I'm about to say. I love the song, but it is a 6.5 minute song. So I would skip the last like minute and a half to 2 minutes sometimes, just because I was so anxious to get to my songs.
How
but I knew more innately and like I'm more familiar with. It's not like an every time thing. It was only like maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 times tops. I like would skip it. But it's just so long. And it's like, it's great when you're just like, you know, accepting that and just riding out with the vibe. But specifically like listening like for the episode, I would kind of get a little impatient and skip the last couple minutes. But
wow. I am not even remotely offended because I totally understand, especially now with how short songs are these days. So it does seem like it kind of can go on forever. That being said, I do have my inherent bias because it was my last song of my picks. I would like to confess that once this song finally concluded, I did kind of restart the playlist to go back to my picks again.
That's
only
fair.
For me. But also, that being said, I do love the transition between the end of this song and then going into Anemone.
Total accident, because I had not listened to any of your picks before I submitted mine.
But it's perfect though.
But it really worked. I agree. It ended up working out pretty dang well.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, like I said, it's a vibe for sure. And like I said, like the long instrumentation and like between the lyrics and stuff is like it's such a vibe. Like it gives you that space to think and fill in, you know, whatever you're feeling at that particular moment in time. So I love it.
Okay, well, we only have a couple songs left on the playlist. I'm gonna go ahead and just your last song. Or no, we have 3 more songs, I think.
Yeah. Well, we have one more of yours, and then we got my final 2.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick out of the last 2 of your picks. I want to talk about Paradise by Stephen Marley with Twista and Jasmin Karma.
Yes,
love that song. I love Stephen Marley. The Marley. I'm
so talented.
Yeah, don't. I'm assuming this is the same Marley family, right? Like it's
yes, 100%. Okay. Yep.
If you had told me no, I was going to call you a liar. There's no way he's not.
see, part of me, I wanted to do that, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to derail the podcast any longer. But like, yeah, it's obvious. Yeah, Stephen Marley is one of Bob Marley's sons, and also Damian Marley's brother.
Yeah, that whole family is just so mega talented. Any of them that have went into music, at least, that I've listened to. Of course, Twista. Me and you, I think, are both like huge mega fans of Twista.
100%. Which was a complete accident. Like this song, I think again, I was just had some random radio playing at work, and then it just played. I was listening to it, and I was like, oh, okay, this, you know, I'm hearing the accent a little bit. I was like, is that one of the Marleys or somebody? And I looked at it, I was like, oh, Stephen Marley, cool. Didn't fully read the whole song or anything. I just saw Stephen Marley. I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And then random Twista out of nowhere. I was like, hold up.
Yeah. Because my initial listen to the playlist, I wasn't paying attention to the song titles or the artists or anything. So I had a similar moment. I was like, is this, definitely hear the like kind of the Jamaican accent a little bit on the Stephen Marley's part. And then, you know, I just kind of was just listening and just riding with it. And then like you just said, just random Twista out of nowhere. And I was like, hold up. Okay, Twista.
Yeah, it's so good, and I don't have any information on the singer Jasmin. Karma. I guess, you know, she might just be somebody within Stephen Marley's camp. But from what I can tell, Stephen Marley and Damian Marley, they're both talented producers. So from what I can tell, it's either just them two or them two with a little bit of help from Salam Remy. Did the production on the song, and to me the song is so beautiful as far as the production, and I love even in Twista's rap verse, if you listen to the background, like there's like a smooth piano, like kind of jazz piano playing while he's doing his lyrics and everything, and it just like it elevates it to me, like because it's such a beautiful song within itself about paradise and just having that feeling of love for somebody, and just hearing that. I love when we can take hip hop and put that on something like this and also elevate it with like strong instrumentation and not just entirely loop based kind of production.
Right.
I love that. So kudos
and because
to
of
production on that.
Everything you just said, it really is, to me, it's a full package song.
Mhm.
And it's very hard to say, like, is this, just pick just one song to be my favorite. But if I had to, I think this would be my favorite, at least out of your picks. Some of my picks give it a run for its money, but even still, it's in the discussion for sure. This one was always at the light whenever it would come on.
Absolutely. I 1000% agree. Same thing with your pick, Sorbet. Again, makes me hungry because I want some cold sorbet. Be that as it may, the song is beautiful. I enjoy the singing on it. And I don't know anything about the singer on this or the band or whoever, but I enjoy how they complement each other. Like,
yes,
it's again, speaking of the full package, like you said, her vocals are part of the instruments in the song.
I agree. So, kind of interesting. Galdive is an indie electronic duo that loves jazz, classical, and R&B, and they kind of have a fusion of all of that. They're Indonesian,
Okay.
which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The singer is Tanisha.
Okay.
I don't know if that's her artist name. I wasn't able to really find a last name. And then the other part of the duo is a guy, Osvaldo. And he's the producer and composer of all the music. But what I thought was interesting is like the beautiful artwork that is like the thumbnail for the song or whatever in the background of the song. Tanisha herself does all of the artwork for all of their music.
Oh,
so she's also like a graphical artist in addition to being a musical artist, which is like pretty awesome to see that. I thought you would really appreciate that as someone who also kind of dabbles in both of those realms.
Absolutely.
So I thought that was super interesting. And just the fact that they're Indonesian and that they have this like very unique sound. And all of their music is very much in the same vein. I've listened to a lot of their songs. This is just, I think, my favorite of theirs. They have lots of other good ones. And also all of their songs that I've ever listened to has some gorgeous artwork accompanied with it. So I was really fascinated to find out that it's like made by the artist herself.
I was just about to comment on that now. Like, I didn't know that. I'm like looking at the artwork now, and it's doing things to me right now, which is crazy.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. The artwork is what, like, I think this was the first song I ever heard by them, and it was on some mega playlist, and I just happened to see the like super colorful thumbnail, and I was like,
yeah,
that catches my eye. Let me skip like 8 of these songs on this playlist straight to that one, and it just like I've loved it ever since, and that was like years and years ago. But yeah, so that was a little fun fact about them that I thought was really cool.
Yeah, their artwork is phenomenal. Like, I can't stop looking at it, and like even without hearing the music, I appreciate the artwork behind it. That is phenomenal. I love that. And on top of that, they got some new music that just came out this year as well, as a recording 2025. So they got a new album called Blue, and blue is my favorite color, and I am going to add that to my library, and I'll give that a listen after this because I did not know that about them.
Also going to do the same.
That's fantastic. Okay, and speaking of fantastic, we have to say the best for last. I know I said I had a lot of favorites of my picks, and that's very much true. However, this song changed my life this week. I don't know why. I don't know
This
how.
was another one that, along with Devotion, like Devotion and this one both. This one, I think, honestly, more than Devotion, kind of got me in my feels a little bit.
100%.
Like more often.
Yes. Yeah. And we're talking about Love Me Right by Amber Mark. And
yes,
this song, it changed my world this past week. And like, I love Devotion and all the other songs. And again, you can listen to my picks and my peaks. Listen to my picks early on. And I guess when I was picking these songs, I was, feeling some kind of way about love, relationships, and all that good stuff. But it's just something about the song and the way it's delivered and the way she sings it, especially in the beginning. I can't, and then because you, Brandon Lee from Black Giraffe and
I
the
did
After
it.
Playlist podcast has ruined my entire existence and
Yeah,
forcing
yeah.
me to. No, you're not gonna eat that. How dare you force me to listen to lyrics and make me feel things? And just talking about this song in particular is like, I give you the keys. I'm telling you how to love me, and you still don't know how to love me right. And that resonates so profoundly throughout my past relationships and even current relationships with some people, where I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, this is how I want to be loved and appreciated. I'm giving you the keys, I'm giving you the instructions, and yet you do nothing with them. And or you just do it in a way that doesn't really not really jive. Like, that's not my love language. Like, you're not listening to me. So that definitely struck a chord. And her singing and her the part that gets me that I had to automatically rewind back to is usually around a 4-minute part, the 4-minute mark, when it changes up and then she takes it up an octave, and then the beat kind of gets a little crunk for a second, and then it mellows back out again. That the harmonies, which I believe is all her, it's just it gets me. Like, talk about goosebumps and tingles and such. It's wild. Like,
It's like I'm sitting here trying to think of like the word like
ethereal.
Well, no, because like it's almost like her singing on the song is like, my brain keeps going back to like almost pleading, but that's really not a good word for it necessarily. I don't feel like, but she has this like,
it kind of is though.
She gets that feeling of the pleading across though. Like she doesn't sound pleading like in her tone necessarily. Not quite exactly. Like, I don't know. It's more than just that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's not just that. That's a big part of it. But that sense of pleading between the lyrics and the vibe of the music, and then just the way she's singing on it, like she 100%. She makes you feel that of like, you just, like you were saying, like I'm telling you, I'm giving you the plan. Like I want you to love me right. I want you keep saying I'm driving you crazy and that you love me more each day and all this stuff, but like, you're not. Where are your actions? I want you to show me that that's true. Please show me that that's true. And man, she gets that sentiment across so well without it being whiny or obtrusive or annoying in any way. It is, yeah, definitely the one that got me. I said it was close to Devotion. I think this one definitely got me in my feels a lot more than Devotion, if I'm honest with you, because of that in particular, how she came across and how she made me truly feel that sentiment.
Yeah, I mean, this song to me is like a discussion that was recorded to music.
Yeah,
I mean, like, and it's like a slice of life, because if you've been in a relationship with anybody, regardless of what type of relationship it is, at some point there's going to be some kind of differences or some kind of conflict to where like the intentions are there, the intentions are meant to be well, but it's still going to come across incorrectly to one or both parties. And this is one of those songs where it's just like, it hits, and then the emotion within the performance of the song itself is phenomenal.
This is a song for me. I kept having a thought of like, sometime in the future, I'm probably going to be in a relationship and have that exact moment you were just talking about, because that's just human nature in relationships of any type of relationship. You're going to have conflict and disagreements and whatnot. But yeah, if I'm ever specifically in this moment and I'm like kind of struggling getting my thoughts and feelings to the other person, conveyed to the other person, I could easily just be like, you know what, sit down, put on some headphones, press play on this song for you. This is it. Listen to the lyrics, and then you'll understand where I'm coming from. Like, it's that type of song that is just so complete. It completely gets that message. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. And I love that you put it right at the top, so that one, I can get it. Like, whenever if I was starting the playlist fresh, I'd get it early. But then two, on that same note, I'd get in my feelings and I'd get right out of them early. I'd get it out of the way.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that, but I also didn't want to be in that the whole time. So
exactly.
You had it near the top.
He's like, like, okay, all right.
It's like, okay, now I can really chill out and not be getting emotional up in here.
Yeah, and I did that on purpose because initially I had this and Devotion back to back, and I was like, you know what, we might.
Yeah, I'm also glad you mixed up. You know, you added Paradise in between Love Me Right and Pure Devotion. That was a smart move, sir. Because again, Paradise is like it's arguably my favorite on the playlist, so that definitely let me recalibrate my emotions right before Pure Devotion would hit me right back in the feeling cluster center again.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, oh, yeah, we're gonna vibe out. You're gonna feel some things on this playlist for sure. But yeah, like this one is such a beautiful song, and from what I can tell, she produced it herself, along with another producer, named Andrew Wenzel, I believe, and she is Jamaican and German descent as well. So, and I think, and I'm not necessarily, again, not trying to add the racial part of it, but I do believe those two those two
cultures,
there we go, adds the texture to her voice, because German is also like a aggressive kind of language dialect.
I could definitely see that,
and then mixing that with the German, not German, with the Jamaican accent as well, on top of that, and I think that gives her voice that like that kind of, hey, I'm gonna tell you like it is, like, this is the case. Like, I want more for you. Like, you can hear the intenseness from her vocals. Also, I think because of her vocals, I was playing this at work because I love the song so much. So I pulled it and I had my coworker pull it up, and we were playing it, and it came off from her EP that she came out with. And this song it's old, but it's not like old. Like, the song came out in 2018.
Okay, it's not Jamiroquai, Morning Glory.
No. It's not ancient like Jamiroquai. Like, we're not out here like digging up fossils and shit. But with this one, excavating Jamiroquai. This song came out in 2018 on her EP, and on that same EP, she did a cover of a Sade song called "Love Is Stronger Than Pride." And the thing is, Sade is one of the most unique singers of all time.
Absolutely.
And there's very few people that can cover her song in a manner in which emulates her and also sounds close to her. Go listen to that cover. If you heard the original version of Love Is Stronger Than Pride by Sade, go listen to Amber Mark's cover of Love Is Stronger Than Pride. You will be blown away. Like, and that was my first time hearing it at the same time as my coworker. We was playing it, and I was listening to it. I was like, is this Sade? Because I literally thought it was Sade for a second. I was like, hold up, no, because like the beat's a little different. They tried, they remixed the beat up a little bit, and I was like, is that's not the Amber Mark? And I pulled around the screen. I was like, oh, that's Amber Mark. He was like, bro, you didn't know? I was like, no, I didn't know either. He was like, this is good. And we both looked at each other like, yeah. Like, we were like, damn, this really is good. Like, we were both shocked. And like, so like, he ended up adding to his favorites. I added to my favorites too. I was like, okay. I found another song. So I just wanted to give shout outs to Amber Mark for that beautiful cover. That's amazing. And she out here, she's still doing, some stuff, here and there. But from what I can tell, I think the most recent music that she had on her own was like maybe 2023, I think. But that's all I can tell as of now. But yeah, that's another artist that I feel should definitely, in my opinion, if I had my way, she'll be on all the radio stations at all times, like hourly
super
rotation.
Talented. Just this is the only song I've ever even heard by her, but I can already tell just based on this one song alone. Yeah, she is super mega talented.
Yes, 1000%. So we've reached the end of the podcast episode. But before we go, we want to deliver a special announcement.
PSA.
So, as Brandon and I just mentioned that, that was our first time hearing Amber Mark, and the first time hearing like Galdive and FijiWiji, like these one-off, kind of artists and stuff. In order to do that, we need to spend some time listening to some more music. So
absolutely.
This summer we're gonna give our ears a break, but also put them to work for us to kind of just venture out independently and go and discover some new music to talk about on the podcast. So the podcast itself is not going anywhere, but we're going to take a brief intermission for our personal listening break, to where we don't have to listen to our human-made playlist in preparation for the episodes that we're recording, but let's go out and just organically find some stuff on our own, so where we can bring it back to present to each other, you as well as the listeners, as well as future guests that we want to have on the podcast. So we're going to take the next 2 months. I know it seems like a lot, but we're going to take 2 months off
It'll fly by, guys. Don't worry.
100%. And it's definitely going to fly by because guess what? We're still going to be on your feed. So we're going to do a special mini series on the feed called After Playlist Rewind, where we're going to rerun some of our favorite episodes that you may or may not have gotten a chance to hear. And you're going to have a new episode each week. So instead of alternating like how we've been doing with your trailer episode, we're just going to get nothing but episodes for the next 2 months, or if it makes it sound better, the next 8 weeks.
That does sound better.
I know, right? Isn't it crazy?
That's
like
weird.
how $5 and $4.99 is the same thing, but for some reason $4.99 sounds better than $5.
Right.
Psychology. Anyway, either way, so starting next week, we're going to have our first After Playlist Rewind episode in your feed, and we're going to rerun some episodes and throw a little bonus content on there as well for you to make it worth your while to listen. But yeah, just wanted to let y'all know what's going on and be a little bit transparent. So y'all don't think we're going anywhere or ending the podcast, because we still here as long as there's still some music and we both got ears and we love it as much as we both do.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna keep pumping them out for y'all. But yeah, we just wanted to let y'all know what was going on with that.
Just stay on the lookout. I already have several. I think we both already are kind of started stockpiling new music already. So
100%.
We should have plenty of new sounds. If you're at all a fan of the podcast, you should know that's something that we both love and always try to do is find those new and unique sounds. So yeah, just this break will allow us to kind of venture out into waters unseen, so to speak, and really discover some new things that we're not familiar with, and hopefully you're not familiar with, but that we all end up loving.
Exactly. So that's the game plan. Again, that's the whole origin of the show, is for us to discover new and old and new to us kind of music and such. So, and for me personally, I really want to dig into the weeds and try to find some lesser known artists that don't have as many plays, like the 25 million plays. I don't want to go to those artists. I want to go and find the people that only have like 100 or 1,000 plays, just to show them some love, and especially if the talent is good, definitely want to big them up as much as possible. So, and once we come back, we'll have that. Once we come back, we'll have new episodes of the podcast of After Playlist, and we may have a new podcast on the horizon as well. But we'll tease more about that later.
Yeah, stay on the lookout for that though. Keep your ears to the ground.
Keep your ears to the ground, and if you feel vibrations, run, because they ain't got nothing to do with us. So, so keep your ears to the ground, but the ground is moving. Duck and cover.
Stampede.
Stampede. That got nothing to do with us. But yeah, definitely keep your ears and eyes peeled. Follow us on social media at After Playlist Pod on Instagram. You can follow us there. We're on YouTube as well as Facebook. We'll be trickling out some announcements there, and keep your ears to the ground.
Thank you guys so much for listening and chilling out and vibing out with us today. And we will catch you next time.
Keep on listening.
Keep on listening. Bye.
Bye.
Black.
Oh, yeah. Keep an eye on blackgiraffemadethis.com as well. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Black Giraffe made this.